Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to jump right into something that's, well, it's tough. We're talking about how to relearn trust after a divorce. It can feel like an impossible mountain to climb, but what if there's a better way to look at it, a whole new framework? We're going to walk through a really practical guide, and it's all based on the fantastic work of Ronnie Kaufman from his Exploring Beyond Divorce course. So, let's get into it.
Wow. This really hits home, doesn't it? It just perfectly captures that raw, guarded feeling you get when you've been hurt, and the thought of it happening again is just terrifying. You know, it's a feeling so many of us share, and if that's where you are right now, that is completely okay. But look at that key phrase right there, relearn. That's the hopeful part. It tells us that this isn't a permanent state. It's actually possible to find a new way forward.
So to get there, we've got to look at what's been holding us back. And you know what? A lot of the time, it's the very way we were taught to think about trust in the first place. Let's really dig into this traditional view, because once you see it, you'll understand why it can feel like such a trap.
Think about it for a second. How are you taught to think about trust? For most of us, it was framed as a reflection of a person's character, right? It was about their inner goodness, their morality. And right there, that connection between trust and being a good person, that's where the problem really starts.
And here's where it all gets so tricky. This framework turns trust into this black and white judgment. So if someone breaks your trust, boom, they're a bad person, right? But what about you? If you find it hard to trust someone new, does that make you a bad person? It's this rigid all-or-nothing thinking that just gets you stuck. It's paralyzing, and it gives you absolutely no path for how to actually move forward and rebuild.
Okay, so let's throw that old rule book out. Seriously, we are going to pivot to a completely different way of looking at this, one that's so much more empowering. Forget about trust as some kind of moral verdict. Let's start seeing it for what it can be, a practical tool that you get to control.
Okay, get ready for this, because it's simple, but it is a total game changer. Trust is the emotion that lets us coordinate action with other people. That's it. It's not about the state of their soul. It's about whether or not we can rely on them to do a specific thing. This one little shift takes trust out of the courtroom and puts it right into your hands as a practical tool for living your life.
And this chart just lays it out so clearly. Look at the difference here. We are shifting away from a moral judgment and toward a risk assessment tool. We're not worried about someone's inherent goodness anymore. Instead, we're thinking about the likelihood that they'll do what they say they'll do. Trust is no longer this fixed, absolute thing. It becomes actionable and specific. Suddenly, you're in the driver's seat. You're not just blindly believing. You're actively assessing the situation.
All right, so if trust is a tool, you need a toolkit, right? This is where this new framework gets really, really practical. So let's open up this toolkit and look at the actual pieces you can use to assess, build, and even repair trust.
It really boils down to these three things, a simple checklist. Number 1, sincerity. Do they actually mean what they say? Do you believe them? Number 2, competence. Okay, they might mean it, but do they have the skills, the resources, the ability to actually do it? And number 3, reliability. What's their track record look like? What have they done in the past? See, none of this is about whether they're a good person. It's all practical, observable stuff.
Now this next point, this is absolutely crucial, and it's something we get wrong all the time. Trust is not a blanket thing. We don't just trust people universally. We trust them in very specific areas of life, or as Kaufman calls them, domains.
And this example from the course just nails it. It's so simple and clear. You might totally trust your buddy to fix a leaky faucet. He's sincere about helping, he's competent with a wrench, and he's reliably fixed stuff for you before. But that does not mean you should automatically trust him with your heart, or your finances, or your deepest secrets. We have to assess trust for each specific domain.
And man, why does this matter so much? Because look at this list. The consequences of low trust are huge, and they are exhausting. This is the stuff that just grinds you down in a relationship. The micromanaging, the sarcasm, avoiding the tough conversations. You can just feel the tension reading these. Learning to manage trust is all about steering clear of these very real, very painful costs.
Okay, so how do we start building it back, or building it new with someone? Well, a lot of it starts with us. First, make promises you actually know you can keep. Be realistic. Second, and this is the obvious one, follow through. Do what you said you would do. And third, and this is the brave one I know, you have to extend small bits of trust to other people. You have to take calculated little risks to see what happens. Like Hemingway said, the best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them.
And what about when trust is broken? An apology is such a key tool for repair. But let's look at it through this new lens. An apology isn't you admitting, I am a bad person. No, it's simply you acknowledging, my action caused you harm. That's it. It just opens the door for a real conversation about fixing things, without getting stuck in that old blame game of who's good and who's bad.
So let's pull all these threads together. The path forward, the way out of that stuck feeling, is all about seeing trust not as this random thing that happens to you, but as something you actively and consciously manage. It's about putting the choice back in your hands.
But this brings us to the big one, right? The question that's probably been lingering in the back of your mind this whole time, especially if you've been through a really deep betrayal. Can you always fix it?
And the answer is so important. Read this carefully. You can't repair trust with someone if they have not re-earned it, period. It is a two-way street. You cannot do all the work yourself. If the other person hasn't shown you through their actions, through their sincerity, competence, and reliability that they've earned it back, then it simply cannot be repaired. And you need to know that that's okay.
So, let's wrap this up. What do I want you to walk away with today? First, trust is not some mysterious feeling. It's a practical skill you can actually learn and get better at. Second, you now have the tools, sincerity, competence, reliability, to assess it logically, not just emotionally. And finally, and maybe this is the most empowering point of all, realizing that trust can't be repaired is a perfectly legitimate, healthy reason to end a relationship and move on. You have the power to make that choice. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.